Okay, so God breathed into him the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Genesis 2:7. Others say that God took earth from the four quarters of the world. See Bissol de Schratzola, etc., etc. And here it looks like it's in Syriac here. The creation of Adam was on this wise, on the sixth day, which is Friday, the first hour, etc. Okay. Others say that Adam took earth from the that God took earth from the four quarters of the world and formed Adam outside paradise. And people have different ideas. While others say that God fashioned him in the middle of the earth, on the spot where our Lord was crucified, and that there also was Adam's skull laid, and so forth. And in the making of Eve, God said, let us make a helper for Adam, and threw upon Adam a deep sleep and stupor. He went into slumber, right? A dreaming state probably. And took one of his ribs from his left side, and put flesh in its place, and of it he formed Eve. He did not make her of earth, that she might not be considered something alien to him in nature. And he did not take her from Adam's foreparts, that she might not uplift herself against him, or think that she's above him, right? Something like that. Nor from his hind parts, that she might not be accounted despicable. Nor from his right side, that she might not have preeminence over him. Nor from his head, that she might not seek authority over him. And from his feet, that she might not be trodden down and scorned in the eyes of husband, and so forth. And chapter 15 of Paradise. In the eastern part of the earth, on the mountain of Eden, beyond the ocean, God planted paradise and adorned it with fruit-bearing trees of all kinds, that it might be a dwelling place for Adam and his progeny, or Eve, and his descendants, etc., if they should keep his commandments. He made to spring forth from it a great river, which was parted into four heads, or tributaries, and split into four, to water paradise and the whole earth. It came from one river, one great river that ran through paradise and watered all the trees and everything, and then split into four heads, or four tributaries, to water paradise and the whole earth. The first river is Pishon, which which goes through or around the land of Havilah, which is Kuwait, modern Kuwait today, where there is gold and beryls and fair and precious stones. The second river is Gihon, that is the Nile of Egypt. Okay, we had the assumption that one of these is Pishon, or the Gihon is the one that flows down into Jerusalem there. And that was the water supply, underground water supply. Ended up there. In Jerusalem, etc. Southern Jerusalem, maybe. Not too sure on that one. Yeah, okay, this one goes through the land of Havilah, Kuwait. Yeah, not too sure on this one, okay. The third river is Deklath, the Tigris, which travels through the land of Syria and Beth Zabdi, or Bad Zabda, a district on the western or right bank of the Tigris, adjacent to Yaziret ibn Omar. Maybe that's in Arabic. The fourth river is Pirath, the Euphrates, which flows through the middle of the earth. Some teachers say that paradise surrounds the whole earth like a wall and a hedge beyond the ocean. Others say that it was placed upon the Mount of Eden, higher than every other mountain in the world by 15 cubits. Genesis 26:20. And this goes on about Enoch. God made paradise large enough to be the dwelling place of Adam and of his posterity, provided that they keep the divine commandments. Now it is the dwelling place of the souls of the righteous, and its keepers are Enoch and Elijah. Elijah the unwedded, and Enoch the married man, that the unwedded may not exalt themselves above the married, as if forsooth paradise were suitable for the unwedded only. The souls of sinners are without paradise, in a deep place called Eden. After the resurrection, the souls of the righteous and the sinners will put on their bodies. The righteous will enter into heaven, which will become the land of the righteous, while the sinners will remain upon earth. It's a different twist there. I thought there's supposed to be a new heaven and new earth, according to the scriptures. The tree of good and evil that was in paradise did not by nature possess these properties of good and evil, like rational beings, but only through the deed which was wrought by its means, like the well of contention and the heap of witness. which did not possess these properties naturally, but only through the deeds which were wrought by their means. And it's referring to Genesis 31:47. Adam and Eve were not stripped of the glory with which they were clothed, nor did they die the death of sin, because they desired and ate of the fruit of the fig tree. Okay, so it's not an apple tree, it's a fig tree, as we thought. Because they clothed themselves to hide their shame with fig leaves. Right? They sewed a whole lot of fig leaves together. Ever seen a fig leaf? What we've seen of late, it's very small. Not like big palm leaves or anything like that. So they ate of the fruit of the fig tree, for the fruit of the fig tree was not better than the fruit of any other tree, but because of the transgression of the law, and that they were presumptuous and wished to become gods. On account of this foolish and wicked and blasphemous intention, chastisement and penalty overtook them. Concerning the tree of life which was planted in the middle of paradise, some have said that paradise is the mind, that the tree of good and evil is the knowledge of material things, and that the tree of life is the knowledge of divine things, which were not profitable to the simple understanding of Adam. And it's got that in Syriac. The tree of life prefigured the cross of the Saviour, and it was this that was fixed in the middle of the earth. Basra, page 5, British Museum edition, etc., etc. Others have said that the tree of life is the kingdom of heaven and the joy of the world is to come, and the others that the tree of life was a tree in very truth, which was set in the middle of paradise, but no man has ever found out what its fruit or its flowers or its nature was like. The rabbis thought that it was either the date palm, the vine, the etrog, in the Hebrew, or it's got Persian as well, Arab, citron tree or the fig tree. Midrash Rabbah on Genesis 2:9-10, Wunschke, page 69. So there's a bit of confusion here, which one was it? When God in his goodness had made Adam, he laid down a law for him, and commanded him not to eat of the tree of good and evil, which is the fig tree. After Eve was created, you ever eaten figs? Figs off the tree? Not that tasty. Yeah, okay, I suppose, but I guess it's an acquired taste. After Eve was created, Adam told her the story of the tree, and Satan heard it, and by his envy, it became the occasion and cause of their being made to sin, and being expelled from paradise, for it was by reason of him, the devil, Satan, right, that Adam fell from the height of his glory. Some say that Satan heard when God commanded Adam not to eat of that tree. Others say that God commanded Adam in his mind, mentally, and not by sense. Others again say by sense and openly. And Satan saw that the serpent was more subtle than all four-footed beasts. It's got that in Syriac here. Okay, and he went and dwelt in the serpent and carried him and made him fly through the air to the skirts of paradise. Why did he enter into the serpent and hide himself there? Because he knew that his appearance was hideous, and that if Eve saw his form, she would straightway flee from him. As one who teaches a bird, footnote down the bottom here, the bird that learns to talk is called parrot. It's got that in the Syriac there, looks at it. Gloss on the word, and so forth. Is that Arabic? Yeah, he was hideous. Imagine Jeepers Creepers appearing to her, right? Something like that, or Freddy. Yeah, she'd freak out. Okay, so he hides in the serpent. Okay. There's one who teaches a bird the Greek tongue, brings a large mirror and places it between himself and the bird, and then begins to speak to her. And the bird, as soon as it hears his voice, turns round, and seeing his own form in the mirror, straightway rejoices, thinking that it is a companion speaking with her, and thus willingly inclines her ear and listens to the words of him that talks with her, and pays attention to them, and learns to talk Greek. So also did Satan enter in and dwell in the serpent. And that's from Bezold the Scholar, page 6, etc. British Museum edition, etc., etc. Then Eve saw that the appearance of the fig tree was beautiful, and that its smell was delightful, and she desired to eat of it, and became a goddess, and to become a goddess. So she stretched out her hand and plucked and ate, and gave also to her husband, and he likewise did eat. And they were stripped of their fair glory and glorious light of purity, wherewith they were clothed, when they saw not each other's nakedness. Okay, yeah, they didn't have clothes on prior, and then they didn't really worry about being naked, right? They didn't question each other about it. But after they did this, they were ashamed and they tried to hide themselves, all that sort of stuff. But it's like Jewel, they were also naked, like they were without God. They didn't have that covering of God, etc. And their eyes were open and they saw their nakedness, and they took leaves of the fig tree and covered their nakedness for shame, and hid themselves beneath thick trees. Yeah, because probably the fig trees, the fig leaves weren't enough, right? You can only cover certain parts, a certain amount. Didn't really hide much. And they're hiding from God as well, probably. Then God called Adam and said to him, "Where art thou, Adam?" Sounds very Shakespeare. Not that he did not know where he was, but he asked in a chiding manner. And Adam, or probably stern, growling sort of thing, you know, that sort of tone. And Adam said, "Lord, I heard thy voice and I hid myself because I am naked." God said, "Whence thou, and who the hell told you you're naked," right? And they went through all that as in the Bible, right? So Satan, who had instigated the serpent, was himself cursed, and immediately his legs were destroyed, and he crawled upon his belly, and instead of being an animal became a hissing reptile. Okay, so this thing stood upright. Again, imagine Jeepers Creepers, and then suddenly he lost his legs, and he became a crawling reptile, sliding around on his belly, a hissing reptile, like a snake, right? And God set enmity between the serpent, or that's like hatred, dislike, really hates the mortals, and man, saying, "He shall smite the heel of man, but man shall crush his head, and the food of the serpent shall be dust." You know, like other animals like mice and all that sort of stuff, things that came from the dust. God said to Eve, "In pain," blah blah blah, all that sort of stuff. Okay, and then they were driven out from paradise at the 9th hour. Chapter 17 on the expulsion of Adam and Eve from paradise. Chapter 18 of Adam's knowing Eve. That's when they got together, did the wild thing, had some children, and so forth. Here we go. Here's about Cain and Abel. I'm going to go back a bit. This is what we found in the Lost Book of Adam and Eve, Part 1, Part 2, something like that. Okay, so yeah, this is in the Lost Book of Adam and Eve as well. Adam and Eve as yet had no knives to Adam and Eve had as yet no knives to kill and flay them. Hence it is clear that he means the bark of trees. Okay, go back up the top here. So the spear point and the sword were made of fire, extended like a sharp sword, which went and came round about paradise to terrify Adam and his wife. And God made for them garments of skin to cover their shame. Some say that they clothed themselves with the skins of animals, which they stripped off, but this is not credible, for all the beasts were created in couples, and Adam and Eve had as yet no knives to kill and flay them. Hence it is clear that he means the bark of trees. 1. Footnote here. These garments were softer than the linen and silk worn by kings. Some say they could clothe themselves with skins of animals, etc. Only the blessed Moses called the bark of trees skins, because it basically the scripture is referring to the bark of trees apparently. Only the blessed Moses called the bark of trees skins, because it fills the place of skins to trees. In the land of India there are trees whose bark is used for the clothing of kings and nobles and the wealthy on account of its beauty. After God had expelled Adam and his wife from paradise, he withheld from them the fruits of trees, and the use of bread and flesh and wine, and the anointing with oil, but they cooked grain and vegetables and the herbs of the earth, and did eat sparingly. Moreover, the four-footed beasts and fowl and reptiles rebelled against them, Adam and Eve, and some of them became enemies and adversaries unto them. They remained thus until Noah went forth from the ark, and then God allowed them to eat bread and to drink wine and to eat flesh after they had slain the animal and poured out its blood. They say that when Adam and Eve were driven into paradise, Adam cut off a branch for a staff from the tree of good and evil, and it remained with him and was handed down from generation to generation with Moses, and even to the crucifixion of our Lord, of Jesus Christ. and if the Lord will, we will relate its history to its in its proper place. Okay, chapter 18 of Adam and Eve. When Adam and Eve went forth from paradise, they were both virgins. After 30 years, Adam knew Eve and his wife. Adam knew Eve, his wife. So he did the wild thing with her. And she conceived and brought forth Cain, together with his sister Calimath, at one birth. The Cave of Treasures. That's probably the name for the lost book of Adam and Eve. Part 1, Part 2. The Cave of Treasures relates the story of Cain's birth and of the dispute of the brothers thus. And here is in Syriac. When Adam wished to know Eve, his wife, he took from the skirts of paradise gold, myrrh, and frankincense to put them in a cave, and so forth. She conceived and bare Cain and E.A.W, his sister, with him. She's attached to him. And again she conceived and bare Abel and Calimath, his sister, with him. So yeah, apparently they're attached to their legs. When the youths had grown up, Adam said to Eve, let Cain take to wife Calimath, who was born with Abel, and let okay, so these two were born together, Abel and this female. Okay, and then Cain had a female born to him, born with him at the same time. But Cain said to Eve, his mother, I will take to wife my own sister, and let Abel take his. For E.A.W was beautiful. When Adam heard these words, he was very grieved, and said, it is a transgression of the Cain's sister to Abel. But Cain desired his own sister more than Abel's, i.e. Calimath and E.A.W were sisters, but because of their birth at one time, they called them thus. Now Cain's sister was exceedingly beautiful. The two brothers, that's the one that was born with him, right? Same time as him. The two brothers made an offering to God because of this matter. Abel, because he was a shepherd, offered up of the fat firstlings of his flock in great love, with a pure heart and sincere mind. Cain, because he was a husbandman, made raised cattle, that sort of stuff, and all this sort of stuff. Some say, okay, so Cain was angry with God because he rejected his offering, right? Some say that he smacked Cain on the head, okay, and others say that Satan appeared to him in the form of wild beasts that fight with one another and slay each other. At any rate, he killed him, whether this way or that way. Then God said to Cain, blah blah blah, and he banishes him from the garden, etc. Yeah, he probably wanted to possess that one that was born with Abel, right? That sister. Okay, but this is according to the Syriac, translated by A. Budge, right? Okay, very very different to the Brita, the Tab Ashut Brita in Aramaic or Genesis account, right? Very very different. Doesn't have any of this. Okay. If it's copied faithfully from 800 BCE by scribes and monks in Ur-Hai, yeah, not too sure about this one, right? Because we have read somewhere that possibly this book was created in the 15th century, the Middle Ages, right? You'd have to go do the research on that. We'd have to do the same and verify that for you, right? Okay, so Adam and Eve mourned for Abel 100 years because Cain killed him, right? In this 230th year, Seth the beautiful was born in the likeness of Adam. In the Aramaic, it's Shet, S-H-E-T. And Adam and Eve were consoled by him as a replacement. Eve called him Shet or Seth because God gave her another man or son to replace Abel, the one that Cain killed. Cain and his descendants went down and dwelt in the plain, while Adam and his children, that is the sons of Seth, dwelt upon the top of the Mount of Eden. And the sons of Seth went down and saw the beauty of the daughters of Cain, and lay with them, and the earth was corrupted and polluted with lasciviousness. Lasciviousness? Is that a strange word there? Lasciviousness. Okay, so that's according to Genesis 5:3 in the 130th year. The Oxford manuscript gives the 233rd year, and then Genesis 6:2, and the sons of Seth had intercourse with the daughters of Cain. So what it says in the Brita, in the Aramaic, Genesis in the English manuscripts, translated into English, that is it Enosh? Yeah, Seth then Enosh. Seth had a son, right? And his name was Enosh. E-N-O-S-H, not Enoch. Enosh, completely different person. And then they were all part of this holy line, started this holy line. They all began to call on the name of God. Right? They were children of God, in the presence of God, etc., etc. But then they saw the daughters of Cain, or the daughters of men, ungodly men, were beautiful, so they took whoever they wanted. Okay. So the sons of Seth had intercourse with the daughters of Cain. These are the descendants of Seth, so that would be Enos, etc., right? Had intercourse with the daughters of Cain, and they conceived by them and brought forth mighty men, the sons of heroes like towers. These are giants. Okay. Because of the close ties, blood-wise, DNA, genetics, they probably had freaks, aliens or strange-looking hybrids. Hence early writers have erred and written, the angels came down from heaven and had intercourse with mankind, and from them were born mighty men of renown. Well, famous, right? So it's, if you hear all this sort of Anunnaki stuff, or this Gnostic book stuff, apparently it's all wrong. It's all false. This is not true. They have said this because they did not understand. Now see, my brothers, readers. Now see, my brother readers, and know that this is neither in the nature of spiritual beings, nor in the nature of the impure and evil-doing demons who love adultery. They don't have genitalia. For there are no males nor females among them, nor has there ever been one added to their number since they fell. Okay, so they haven't multiplied. They haven't had intercourse and multiplied, because they've got no genitalia. They can't reproduce. So if anyone says, oh, this, that, and according to the Gnostic teachings, they're full of it. According to this. If the devils were able to have intercourse with women, they would not leave one single virgin undefiled in the whole human race. And it's in Syriac. Okay. Pretty logic, common sense, yeah. If they could do that, wouldn't they just infect all of them? Bring them over to their side? Okay, here it says, now Adam lived 930 years. Okay, it's got a footnote indicator here. Apparently he died at the 9th hour of Friday, the 14th of the month of Nisan. That would be on a preparation day. 930 years after the creation of the world, and gave up his soul to make it the same hour in which the Son of Man on the cross gave up his soul to his Father. Okay, we not too sure on that one, because the Brita says something completely different. Not that he lived 930 years, that was his lineage that lasted that long, before his son, his oldest son, took over, and then his lineage lived for, say, 130, 140 years, whatever, right? And then the next one, and the next one, carried on like that. It's not his age in the original Aramaic. Kitab Esher. Seth became a leader to the children of his people, and he ruled them in purity and holiness. And because of their purity they received this name, which is better than all names, that they should be called the children of God. And they went up in place of that band of demons which fell from heaven to praise and glorify on the skirts of paradise. Okay. So they were a holy line. Start of a holy line that Christ probably would have had to come through, right? Originally come through. But when they left their rightful place and they went with the daughters of Cain, according to this, they had these strange hybrids, these strange creatures. Okay, if we show you the video of the Brita, the original Aramaic Brita, and Brita 127 or Genesis 127, it says there that this is how the native-born Aramaic translator Victor N. Alexander puts it, Neanderthals. But they came much later, didn't they? They came in the about 1945, their bones etc. were found in the Neander Valley there. So it's probably Cro-Magnon, hominids, etc. Pre-Adamics, right? So that's there, right? That they basically left their rightful place. Not the devils, not the angels, left their rightful place and then got cast out like that. Okay, they did get cast out because they, was it 1/3 of the angels or something rebelled with Satan, so they got booted out because sin can't remain in the kingdom, right? In the presence of God, etc. Yeah, it's very different.